So I got into the park yesterday, kind of around the middle of the day, and I took one photo yesterday. The park was super crowded, so it was like really hard to get around, but I took one shot yesterday, and the scene wasn't super inspired. I don't think it was super dynamic, but I was really trying to get my first photo out of the way. But I was just kind of running off of like no calories from driving in and just not eating. So, I wasn't really inspired, and I didn't even really like the scene. But today I've been walking around the washes for the last 3 or 4 hours or so, just really trying to cover as much ground as possible. And I found this really cool bend in this little slot canyon. It has this beautiful movement and texture that guides your eye to the back. And then around the corner of one of the sandstone walls is this really, really beautiful yellow tree that's in peak fall color. Everything around it is still an early color, but it creates a really nice contrast that just kind of leads your eye right down the photo. So I'm going to take this while there's a little bit of a glow. There might be a better glow in the afternoon, but this morning glow is really nice too. So I don't know, but I'm pretty sure this is going to look beautiful. This is the first scene I've really shot where I'm just like super inspired by it, and I really, really want to capture it. So this is pretty exciting. So this shot back here that you just saw me take is kind of a result of being curious, because I was hiking around the Spring Creek area all morning for a couple hours and I was pretty tired. So I got back in my car, decided to drive down here and see how the color was, and I just saw this little wash off on the side of the road, and I just decided to go with it and take it, and I did. I walked through the scene, checked out the fall color back there, which is pretty nice. But then when I was walking back here, this scene just popped out and it had so much movement. And my vision for these washes was really to find these wavy striations back here that you're looking at and use those to make a photo where you feel like you're walking through the wash and where you feel like you could just walk right into it. And this really has that feeling of leading you down, and it really fulfills that vision for me. Now, there were two things I was a little worried about. One was the focus in the foreground. I had to use some front tilt because it's such a long scene, and I was using a 150, but I still had to use some front tilt. And there's a little part of the foreground that I just can't really see if it's in focus or not. So I really hope that it was in focus. Everything seemed pretty sharp. I'm pretty sure I got a good balance. The only part that will be a little blurry is at the very end of the wash back there, but that's going to create some more depth probably. The other thing that I was worried about was how much foreground I should include. Now, what I learned from my last trip is that you want to include a lot more foreground than you think you need. Not a lot, just a little, sorry. But a little bit will get chopped off in scanning, and just because that's the way the film is. So I was really debating if I should change my composition, add a little more foreground, but there's already a lot of foreground here, and I had the perfect composition, so I decided to go with my gut. So I'm going to keep walking around and see what I can find. So I've had a really long day of scouting, and I've been going kind of all over the place. I just found two scenes here which are perfectly shootable in a few days. This one could probably do in a day, and then there's another tree at the end of the wash which could also be shootable. But I'm pretty tired. I think I'm going to call it quits for today. I actually revisited that other scene that I shot earlier this morning and found out that I wasn't really maximizing all the fall color that I could have captured in the photo. So I'm thinking maybe in a couple days I'll go back to that spot when the fall color is a bit better. So right now it's just been a lot of scouting around and seeing when things are going to be in good fall color. I lied, I'm actually going to shoot this right now. I just took one exposure, and that was on Velvia. I've been fiddling around with the composition so much. It looks really good to my eye, and then when I try to make the composition, it just isn't working for some reason. So I'm pretty exhausted. I'm gonna end this video here. It's been a pretty productive day.